So my name is Manasij. I am building a customer success solution, believe it or not. And I am building it with Mosmi, who's my co-founder, Kundan and Nikita, Wilson, Jaya, and Yash. Where is Yash? Yash is right here. And Mitali. Mitali is somewhere at the back. Okay. So this is our team, and Shivam, of course, sorry. But this even would not be possible without the infectious zeal that Ankit brings in. So Ankit is a really fun guy to be with. And he was so worried about making this event successful in Delhi because we have had 2 chapters in Bangalore. In the first chapter of Bangalore, there were like 140 people who came in. In the second chapter, 170 people came in. And we did not actually follow up with the founders at all. In Delhi, we had to do everything to actually make sure there is a gathering of 60 people here. It is hard. I don't know why it is. Probably Delhi has too many distractions. Or probably कि हम ऐसे ही हैं यार. ठीक है? It's also possible that there are less number of SaaS companies here and less people in CS are open to networking, meeting other people and stuff. That's exactly what we want to do here. So the whole objective of, before I go into my presentation, and that's when you stop looking at your mobile phones for sure, I just want to point out a couple of things for everyone here. This venue is organized by People Strong, and Oyon is a person who actually got it done for us. We are a startup. We always want to save money wherever we can. And to get a lovely venue like this in the middle of Gurgaon would be absolutely expensive and difficult. But thanks a lot, Oyon and People Strong team, for making us really, really welcome. I really appreciate it. Look, without patrons, things cannot really go forward. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys have stepped up. Also, the keynote was absolutely brilliant. I always knew that it would be. The panel was fantastic as well. Also, there are a lot of people have helped us. Deep has helped us get a lot of people here, from customers, community builders. Of course, there's a whole bunch of WhatsApp groups you should join, which Ankit has mentioned. The community is 1,300 people strong. Delhi में बन रहा है, और ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि we keep on doing this again and again. We will actually do a couple of more things later on, which is like much more in-depth discussions on very, very strategic pointers where we can sit down and solve a problem, whiteboard it, not like just having. It's the first. Think of this as a starter. ठीक है, ये पनीर टिक्का है. इसके बाद there is a full dish coming later on, which we'll do. All right. So like I said, this is my second SaaS business, and the reason we chose to build the 13th customer success solution is because that we struggled a lot with CS in our last dhanda startup. And we realized that it is very important for startups mostly to get to a point where they can really see value quickly in the product. But I'm not going to go to the product picture. This is a very conceptual perspective. How many of you guys actually have heard of AI? I'm sure everybody has. How many of you actually know what AI is? Like, how does an AI software predict that this is a cat and Raman does not look like a cat? Does anybody know that part? Okay, good. Few hands, people who actually know the intricacies of how a software picks up it is a cat or Raman. And Raman, I'm just picking out because you are very distinctive to look at. So the way it goes is there's a thing called, AI systems are basically systems which do trials and errors. They don't know anything about cats. Actually, they don't know what a cat is. What they know is, if we show them 1 million pictures of different kinds of cats, different parts of the AI solution will latch on to certain signals. That one part will say, okay, cats must have whiskers, right? The other part says that, okay, cat must have like really these beautiful eyes that people love, of course. The third part is cat must have a pointy, ear, must have claws, paws, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So think of like 50, 60 such layers, each layer answering the question that, yes, this is actually a cat. And if all these layers agree, then we actually agree. So Raman has, mustache and mustache, so cat and you agree on that part. But you don't have claws and paws, my friend. Last time I checked. I don't know, I haven't seen you after a couple of drinks. Who knows? So the point is, that's how typically AI solutions work. AI solutions always look for patterns. And unless you give them a complete set of patterns, it really cannot distinguish from something else. इसमें एक और शर्त है, by the way. Some of the light went away. Anyway, and important thing is that when you train your AI on, let's say, 10 lakh photos of cats, and then you show the photograph of a, let's say, a normal house cat. Anybody has a cat in their house in this group? There's at least one person. Thank you. So when they show the photograph of their cats, the understanding is that जब वो AI train हुआ था, when the AI was trained, and when the cat photo is shown, इसके बीच में the cats in the world haven't changed their appearance, right? So that AI that is today trained on cats is probably only good for the next 2-3 million years, which is pretty good for our lifetime. But after 3-5 million years, if you ask the same AI to predict the same cat, it will not be able to, because species keep evolving, right? So it's very important that predictions only happen when you have the entire complete set of the entire features and its pointers available. Other than that, it just cannot predict anything. That is why there cannot be any prediction on stock market tomorrow. No matter what you do, whatever kind of AI you build a large language model, you build in a regression model, you build in a categorization model, it will not be able to predict the share price of ICICI Bank tomorrow for sure. For two reasons. Number one, it cannot have all the sets of data for which ICICI Bank ka share price either moves up or down. Number one. And number two, and most importantly, it is also not a closed loop, which means if I predict that ICICI share price will crash, then Ayon can tomorrow go and buy 10 lakh shares to book profits. That will actually make the share price go up. So if the system is something, it is not open and it is a closed system, then your predictions will work. Like a cat has not changed its structure, its behavior since you last trained your AI to the next time you go and ask for a cat to be checked or not. So these are two important things to understand. Why I started with this is because I'm going to talk about customer churn, and is it possible to actually predict customer churn using AI? The current knowledge that the world actually has, if you look into any software solution, our friends here have very clearly steered away from not naming solutions, which is fine. Let me go and do the exact same thing. The current knowledge and understanding, if you look across the entire CS communities and people who have tried to build customer churn, is this: that we will look into your past churns, and from there, we will learn if the next customer is going to churn or not. Now, let me ask this question. If you have 10,000 customers, let us just say, you're people strong, all right? And every year, let us say 100 customers churn. And over the last 5 years, you have 500 churns. Can you tell me that all these 500 churns actually encompass the entire set of all the reasons why somebody can churn? The answer is no. We can't. It is not possible, because it is entirely possible that out of 500 churns, 300 have happened for one major reason, 200 have happened for 3 reasons, 100 have happened for 5 reasons. The point is, the number of reasons why a customer has churned, if that is not completely contained in the set of customers who have churned right now, your AI will not learn it. It's like saying that if you want to make your AI learn the photograph of cats, but you have not shown that really terrible looking cat called Sphinx cat. If anybody knows what Sphinx cat looks, it doesn't have any feathers and stuff. It looks horrible. All right? It looks like a cat, you skinned it. Right? Somehow it's a very important and very expensive cat. I don't want to look at that at all. So the point is, अगर आपने Sphinx cat को train नहीं किया है आपके set में, तो Sphinx cat नहीं मिल सकता आपको. So the current knowledge of the current understanding that I will be able to predict the churn is based and predicated on the fact that all the customers who have churned must have seen those processes actually. That's the problem. So this is the reason why it really cannot predict the churns like this. It is not a great solution. Nobody has seen success with this model. So therefore, this model, unfortunately, is broken. And this is not spoken anywhere. I don't know why. Because to me and to anybody who hears right now, they understand very clearly that, yes, this is the reason why it cannot work. So what can work? And that's the question that we asked ourselves. And I'm going to show you what can work. Does it absolutely work? We don't know. All the things about science and software engineering is science, is math. is the fact that we have to keep on working and striving towards what makes logically sense, and then of course go back and prove it with data and evidence, of course. So I'm going to show you today what is churn prediction with AI. But I'm going to drop the entire churn prediction and the AI problem completely. I'm going to come to something completely different. I'm going to come to medical science, right? In the last, how many people actually saw my SRK pose wala thing that, hey, come to this event? Okay, great, thank you. Those who did not, no worries, it's okay. Again, it's like a Sphinx cat thing. It's good that you don't see it. So the thing is, here's the point. Medical science in the last 100 years has changed our living to a point where we live almost twice as long as a person who was 100 years before us could live. The average life expectancy of India at the time of independence was 27 years. Today it is opposite of that, 72, right? And how did medical science do that is a very interesting point which I want to make sure I show it to you, and then use exactly those semantics to bring into the AI realm to show you how that can be used for churn prediction, right? Everybody with me? People who are on their phones, and speaking of phone, there is a phone. Right, so people who are on the phone, this is the last time I'm telling you, this is after this, there is no going back. So, okay, so let's go. How can we use medical sciences as an important indicator? And I say medical science because think of this. A patient churning, patient dying, and a customer churning is exactly similar, right? A patient dies in a hospital bed, they're not going to come back. A customer who churns, pretty much they're gone forever. बहुत कम होता है कि दोबारा लौट के आ जाए, right? ये कुछ होता है कि कहानी थोड़ी ना है कि गई काजल दोबारा वापस आ जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं होता भाई. Customer गया, right? So how do we go about doing this? So let's go about this. What medical science tells us is that yes, patients can die, but not all deaths are equal. Deaths are different in nature. For example, and again I'm going to say things about morbidity and things. I hope it is an audience where you will not be, don't have that ये serial किसी को हाँ वो नहीं है, but now I give it to you कि भाई किसी की भी sensitivities को hurt करने के लिए नहीं है. It is just for it's just pure academic in nature, right? So all deaths are not equal. The COVID-19 deaths and heart disease deaths and cancer and homicide are different, right? It is entirely possible for doctors and medical science to actually predict the COVID-19 deaths. They will look like this. And we all know because of the multiple waves of COVID we have had in this country, that in a COVID death, you will see the oxygen saturation, SpO2, of a patient will continuously keep going down, right? You will also see the inflammation markers keep going up. It's also a very important step. People who show both of these things together are the patients who are most likely to die of COVID in the intensive care unit. This is a known medical understanding. So now, how do we know this? We know this because these are KPIs. Oxygen saturation, SpO2 is a KPI, and we know inflammation markers is also on the KPI. So if we know if a patient shows both of them going down, that's a sign of a patient possibly going to die on the bed. That's COVID. Moving on to heart disease, and there are of course many reasons of heart disease. One of them, if you're a bong, please consider you're already there. All right? How many Bengalis in this crowd? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, that's your death. Right? So, me included, by the way. So, cholesterol going up, and your blood pressure keeps going up. There are, of course, other measures. There's the calcium score of your heart. There are artery thickenings, everything else. But these are, I've just picked up a couple of examples for you to understand the fact that for medical science, death is always a precursor to certain KPIs showing certain clear trend lines. Next slide. If you look at cancer, you will see cell division going up very quickly, and you will see metastasis, which is basically spread of the cancer from one organ to all the other organs coming up. That's how the doctors say this is a bad case of cancer, right? So, and of course, the last part, of course, is, homicide will not have any telltale marker at all. You could be suffering from anything, we not be suffering from any affliction. Somebody might just decide कि आपने इसी गाड़ी को overtake कैसे कर लिया यार, ठीक है? So that's entirely possible. So therefore, there are certain deaths that cannot be actually measured and put inside the churn possibility, like death possibilities. So nobody can predict a homicide death. We can only give statistics कि इतने लोगों में हिंदुस्तान में every year 29,000 people are killed in homicides. That's a real fact, right? So that's what we can do. So what have we learned from this thing? What we learned is the way medical science predicts death is not by looking into the previous deaths. It doesn't say, let me go to a hospital and look at all the deaths that have happened in the past. And then based on that, let me predict ki kya agla patient marega ki nahi marega. That's not how they work at all. Why they should not work like this? I mean, for a simple reason that a patient can die for thousands of ailments. So it is not possible for any AI to actually learn that kind of a death pattern by just looking at the previous deaths. The only way medical science can predict is by looking into the KPIs and looking at the way these KPIs move. So how these things, how a doctors actually look into a patient is like this. If we say there are 3 patients, they will look into something like this, that okay, is this patient showing any morbidity sign for COVID? Like these are the 2 KPIs, inflammation and SpO2. This is for heart disease, this is for cancer. And you can see that we used to learn, here is case in our, in the COVID, here is a COVID, it's called comorbidities, right? That you have more than one reason to die. That's a comorbidity. Like if you are showing that, for example, if you see patient A here is not showing any sign of any of these KPIs being under stress. So this patient is pretty healthy. We can absolutely say this patient is not in the risk of dying right now, at least with these afflictions. But if you look at patient B, shows some afflictions of certain KPIs. So there are some comorbidities for patient B. So there is a higher chance for patient B to actually die than patient A. And if you look at patient C, this is HIGH, it's not HIG, of course. The patient C shows all of these things as high. It's a very high comorbid case. That is what the doctors tell you, that your comorbidity is so high that therefore there is a high chance that you will die. It does not say that you will absolutely. It's entirely possible that somebody with all these comorbidities might have Sai Baba ka Ashirwad, and who knows? Karma, dharma ho sakta uske paas ho, mujhe nahi pata yaar. Ho sakta that guy might walk out completely like free. Who knows? How would you know? We have seen miracles happen, right? Have you guys seen Agnipath? Amitabh Bachchan ko 6 गोली लगती है, 6 गोली. और वो उसी गोली को दोबारा रिवॉल्वर भर के कांचा को मार के आता है. It's entirely possible that you would be fine. Who knows? The point is, this is the way a doctor looks into this. This is how medical science looks into this. I am saying that this is exactly how we should look into customer churn. We should not look into the fact that, okay, let me see how many customers have churned in the past, and based on that, we will learn. A, you will not learn. B, it is not a full set of all the reasons of churn. So there could be entirely a possibility that somebody else comes up and you won't be able to see that. So how do we go about doing this? So here is what the lesson that medical science tells us, that each agent causing a patient death will have its accompanying telltale data patterns. Some death needs to be excluded from the pattern, like homicides and stuff, right? Suicides included. What we can actually use this exact sentence to look like this, that each agent causing customer churn will have its accompanying telltale patterns, and some churns need to be excluded from the pattern, right? So how are we going to do this piece now? That's the question, and that's a very good question. Let me answer this question by showing you a couple of examples of how we look at this entire piece. Before I go into that, let me explain to you how we do this. As you saw in COVID, we're looking at things like SpO2, we're looking at things like your CBC markers and your blood cholesterol markers and all of these things, right? We have 40 different KPIs that are going to be coming from your product, tickets, your feature requests, your invoices, and billing, and of course communication. There are 5 places from which data comes in. And for all of these 5 different places, we can exactly follow this same structure. And here is how it goes. So if I go here, a customer can churn because of poor product adoption. Do you agree? Yes, I'm pretty sure. We have spoken that about a lot here. A customer can leave you because your product have too many issues and they just can't work with that. It happens. People who are into like people strong and ship level, they would not know it because of course you have moved to a much more stable state. People like Ruchi would probably know it. हो सकता है ऐसा कि आपके customers को product से काम करने में दिक्कत होती हो because the products might have issues. The customers might request too many features कि ये बना के दो, वो बना के दो, वो बना के दो, ये बना के दो, which means whatever they have is not enough. That's a very important reason that customers might leave you. The customers might leave you because they just can't pay you, or they don't want to pay you. Either way does not matter because it is not your money. You can't get money from them. And there could be reasons of poor comms. The customer is not engaged with you, and certain accounts require you to have that engagement. If you have a very large customer who's paying you $1 million plus a year, and if you're not engaged with them, that customer is going to go away. So there are reasons these are pockets of reasons. There could be probably others also, but I'm just taking like these 5 as the most important one. Product adoption, tickets, features, payments, and comms. These are the reasons why your customers can leave you. Now let's take a moment to understand and go through each of these. Let's look into poor product adoption. If a customer, so here is, we start making postulates. Just like we made postulates for COVID, we make postulates for this affliction. That if a customer shows continuous decrease in the time that they're spending on the product, that is bad for your business. Is that a fair point? If it is important for your business that they should be engaged in your platform, and speaking of churn, here are some people who churned out from my talk. Thank you. All right, so time on the product keeps on going down, their page visits keep going down, and the feature adoption keeps going down. Like how many times they used to click on this button has gone down, gone down. That's a very important indicator. So it's not a point in time issue, ladies and gentlemen. It's a question of the trend line. Can we see these trends? That's a product adoption trend problem, okay? Next, is your ticketing churn, what are the possible telltale signs here? One is you will see your tickets keeps on increasing. The customer keeps on reporting more and more issues, right? It's also possible that your resolutions are going down, which means your support team does not have enough time to actually respond to all the tickets, so the backlog keeps on growing up, your customer gets more and more dissatisfied. It's a very logical and very comprehensively understood wrong issue with your support system, by the way. Similarly, if you see the number of users logging tickets keeps going up, what does that mean? It means not just 1, not just 2, but your entire user base is now dissatisfied with you. Everybody is logging tickets. Everybody is saying bad things about you, as opposed to, let's say, only 1 person, right, or two people. In that case, you can contain that infection. But if it's everybody starts to put you under pressure, that's not good at all. And the last point is your priority 1 tickets keep going up. It's a very important step because priority 1 tickets are basically the showstoppers for your customers. If that keeps going up, or let's say it stays high at range bound, so there are many ways this can happen. Right? This can keep going up, or they can stay at a high range and remain there for a long time. That's also bad for you. So these are very important ticketing issues to look at. Number 4, for feature requests. Your features, the customers keeps on requesting more and more features. This pull happens because of your competitors. It also happens because your customer's business becomes more complicated. And it also happens because your product drift versus the customer's expectation is not matching. So your product has gone somewhere else, your customer has some of the expectations. It's entirely possible this can happen. Similarly, if you see the feature resolution goes down, so it's again the backlog. Your engineering just cannot respond to the number of issues that they're logging with you, right? And thirdly, again, the priority 1 feature, these things I absolutely must have in my system keeps going up, and you just can't keep up with this. These are very clear signs that this is if any customer is showing this, they have very high stress in the feature request division. If I go continuously from here, for payment, it's very simple. I mean, if number of fully paid invoices keep going down, that's bad. Your customer is not just paying you. It is very simple as this. And your unpaid amount keeps going up, which is your backlog of how much money they're owing you. And the bad debts keep piling. That's a very clear sign this customer is not going to stay with you no matter what you do, right? So these are the 3 parameters for invoices and payment records. If I go to next stage, for comms, you would see that the customer comms keep going down. The customer is not engaging with you anymore. And the number of days since you spoke to the customer keeps creeping up. And by the way, you writing to a customer is no value. It's like screaming to a void. Unless your customer writes back to you, there is no point. You can write 100 emails, but if a customer is not responding to any of these, this is creeping up. Your engagement means really nothing. If your customer is not responding back to you, that's how it is. All right? All the guys who have tried to ask out lovely women out for dates know that. That you can ask them for 15 times. If they have said no, well, it's not happening, right? It's simple as this. So the point is this. This is a very clear sign of a customer not being engaged with you at all. Right? So these are the signs. Now if I go from here, and if I start putting these models, so these are all models, right? Like models where my tickets go up, my feature usage goes down, my time on product goes down. These are all models. All the models have to do is look into data point and see if there's a slide in this or not. And if it's now put into our entire picture together, it looks like this. So let's say we look into 3 customers, A, B, and C again, because it's easy to copy paste the same slide and just change the name from patient to customer. That's how we do it. All right. So is this customers, A, B, and C, showing these comorbidity factors for churn? That's the question we need to ask our AI. And our machine learning model, and it's a very simple model, all it has to do is look into trend lines and respond to you saying yes, no, can't decide. Right? So this is how it goes. It tells you that, okay, customer A has absolutely no problems in any of these. Very healthy customer, at least on product adoption. It is possible that the customer A could be good in product, but bad in tickets, features, emails, and comms. So there are different kinds of morbidities. Right? Just like you might be absolutely healthy, you don't have COVID, but you may have cancer. Right? There are so many different kinds of morbidities, right? So this is how we see customer B shows some morbidity problems, churn problems. Customer C shows everything as in red. So now we have a very clear grasp at, okay, this is how I look at this problem. Right? If I move the same thing to tickets and other things, so if I go forward, I will say same thing for tickets, move forward, same thing for feature requests, same thing for payments, and same thing for poor communications, and then I summarize the entire thing together. That overall, customer A shows no problems in either product adoption, or ticketing, or feature requests, or payments, or communications. Customer B shows mild afflictions. Customer C shows a lot of afflictions. And that's exactly how, if you see this slide and see the slide, remember the slide before, we talked about how a patient is diagnosed for comorbidities, exactly similar. So we are not bringing any new conceptual points. All we're doing is what already works great, we're using the same conceptual perspectives to actually use it in the context of customer success. I believe customer success is digital healthcare. So all of you guys, congratulations who are engineers, you did your engineering, and eventually you became a doctor. Right? That's how it is. So this is the way we look into the churn problems. Why this model is better than the other models, and I'll tell you this quickly, is that this model does not assume that your past churns have anything to do with these current churns, which is actually true. If, let us say, your past 10 customers have churned, is that a reason your current customer is churning? The answer is no. Right? Is it okay to assume that all the churns that have happened in the past and this churn which is happening right now, they have the exact same reason? The answer is no. It is entirely possible that this new customer who is churning out has completely different afflictions, different kind of ailments, different issues. So how do we go about doing this? Our step number 1 has to be to measure. If you see, all of these things go from measurement, like SpO2 का measurement है या आपका measurement है for the for blood pressure or cholesterol, whatever it is. It always will start from there, and then you will have to make some very, very clear predictions based on that. That okay, if my customer shows, if especially in your business, for example, in your business, if a customer's time on product keeps going down, that is not good. That's all. You can't say it's a reason for churn or not. It's entirely possible the customers data keeps on going down, but they don't leave you. Because they, for any reason, I don't know, maybe they just love your product, maybe they don't want to train somebody new. Whatever, good for you that even despite that, the customer stays with you, right? But that should be a red flag for you that, okay, this customer's usage has gone down, time on product has gone down, or whatever has gone down, or whatever something has gone up. It's important to find out these KPIs, number 1. It's very, very, very important, because if we don't do this, anything we do after that is actually going to be meaningless. Second, decide the direction of travel for that particular KPI. Should it actually trend down for it to be called bad? Should it go up for it to be called bad? Or should it actually, let's say, alternate between good and bad, or whatever it is? Kabhi haan, kabhi na. Is that possible? Or whatever it is. The thing is, for all of these 3-4 ways, we have ready-made, built-in machine learning models. We don't have to invest and invent something new. This is extremely well-known problem, very well-known territory. The only thing new is using the conceptual perspective of medical science into customer success. That's it. And what we're doing here is doing exactly that. We know this is the reason why human beings live so long on the planet. We are using the same thing to make sure that your customers live long with you for long and prosper as well. Okay? That's what we want to do. Live long and prosper, guys. So moving on from here, that's what we do. I'm going to take a few more minutes before I finish this whole thing. See, there is this whole understanding that AI is magic. It can do anything. Large language models, ChatGPT can predict churn. Bullshit, that does not happen. Right? Churn is not a large language model problem. Anybody tells you that, please laugh at them, like I can absolutely. Large language model tells you what is the next likely sentence and word and verb and noun and preposition after this. Right? This is what it tells you. But before that, to make sense of a paragraph, and to make sense of it, you have to go back to the same regression model, same classification problems. So large language model does not predict churn. This is a misconception that is out there in the market. It can't do that. What has to happen is, you as CS people, you go back and look into your business. That what are these KPIs that we must measure? If you need help in that, reach out to us on ZapScale. A couple of brochures right there. Where? There? Okay. Yeah, right here. A couple of brochures for you guys to pick it up. I'm going to put it here, lay it down here. Or you can speak to Ankit, He's a great guy to talk to. He has a beautiful community. I would strongly recommend you to join those communities and initiate these conversations. Ask these hard problems and let us see what comes out. Of course, we will want to do some more workshops in which we will actually take your case. So imagine 20 people inside a room for 4 hours where we actually thrash this whole thing out and figure out this is how we will measure it, so how we'll do it. So if you want to need any help for us, talk to either Kundan or Jaya or Nikita or me or Mosmi or Shivam, Wilson, Mitali. Our teams, they're mostly in black t-shirt. Yash, somehow he's not in our t-shirt. No mind. Fair enough. So guys, that's what we should do. There are 3-4 more sessions that we want to take. I always want to take. One is how to do completely 100% data science oriented customer health, which is exactly what will lead you to this part. Because if you don't do that part, you actually can't reach here. So anybody who has not defined KPIs, and by the way, if you define KPIs with like this, that okay, if a customer logs 3 bugs per month, they are good. If they log 5 bugs per month, they are okay. If they log 7 bugs per month, they are bad. Then please know your KPI is wrong. Because how did you come at 3, 5, and 7? You show me that at least you have done some correlation at the back end that if somebody logs 7 tickets, they have churned out. If you have not done that, 3, 5, 7 is your guess. It could be 375, 684, 993 comes to mind. You can choose any 3 numbers for that matter. Right? It's very important to, therefore, choose your KPIs correctly. So we would want to do a session where we deep dive into these very specifically. And this is the first time we are meeting in this CS group in Delhi. We really want to make sure this group becomes vibrant. So please do contribute to the group. Add more people to the group. And when these sessions and things happen, please do come and join those groups as well. Last point, guys. Yes. Last point, guys. I just want to make sure that we know this, please. That we don't have any criteria for speakers. Like, you don't have to be an Ayan Das. There's only one Ayan Das in all over Delhi NCR who have built a $100 million HR business, right? We can't get more Ayan Dases from somewhere else. We have to import people from somewhere else, right? So please do come forward, say I want to talk about this. We will arrange a platform for you. Ankit will be more than happy to do so for you guys. He's right at the back and smiling. All right, good. Any questions that you guys have for me, please, about all this that I showed to you? Any questions? Yes. Yes, sir. What's your name? Get the mic. It's okay. Hi, Akash.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, you're audible. Go
Hi,
ahead.
I'm Akash. So while I agree that these indicators that you use to figure out the customer... Hello? Yeah. While I agree that what indicators you have used, there's a direct correlation to that, right? Because there's a mental picture, there's a mental model that these indicators are actually what tells you that this customer would churn or not.
Correct.
Okay. So that's your, and that works. What you described, it's a simple linear regression. That would work well.
Correct.
But when you said that AI won't work, for the reasons that is not what I would agree with. Reason being, what you have assumed is that, let's say example you gave is 10,000 customers you had and 500 churn. Okay, and you said that next customer 10 churning won't have the same reason as these last 500, right? It can be something new. So you are assuming that that's all the data you are training your model on. That only your customer data, but these large language models, that's not how those are trained with. So they have much more information. So you can't make that assumption that since whatever the new customer would churn might not have the same reason that last 500 has.
Okay. Anybody has anything around the same thing? Any other questions on this around the same pointers? Okay. Akash, good pointer. Let me quickly break down the thing for you. किसी भी मॉडल को अगर आपको predict करना है कि yes, this is going to happen or this is a cat, right? It must have been trained on all sorts of cats. अगर वो Sphinx cats पे train नहीं हुआ है, तो Sphinx cat जो है, I don't know, Nikita, can you pull up a Google image of Sphinx cat? I don't know people if you've seen or not. It's a horrible looking cat. All right? अगर उस Sphinx cat पे training नहीं हुई है, so next time if you show a Sphinx cat and you know it's a cat, the AI will say, no, it is not a cat. No matter what is the model that you're training using it, you can use a large language model, you can use a linear regression model, you can use a logarithmic model, you can use a classification model, you can use any kind of model, it will not tell that. So here's my point. My point is very simple. My point is when you say that I'm going to learn about churn by looking at you into my past data, there are two problems. Number one, what data am I looking at? क्योंकि आपने KPI define नहीं किया अभी तक. अगर आपने KPI define नहीं किए हैं, तो churn किस data के KPIs पे measure करूं मैं? Right? Let us say a hospital does not have equipment for measuring your blood pressure. Right? Then, for any dead patient, we cannot look into their past record of blood pressure, right? So the AIs cannot, or machine learning cannot be trained based on that, because वो आपने KPI बनाया नहीं था, number one. So unless you make the KPIs, and unless you make sure that your entire churn data points is fully complete, the next model of churn, the next new random virus for churn would not be able to be caught. Exactly like आज के डेट में कोई एक नया virus आ गया, we have model for COVID, but let's say the new virus kills in some different way, we will not be able to measure it based on the previous things. That's the answer for you, Akash.
Yeah, that's correct. And we won't be able to predict for previous things.
Correct.
But AI can figure out those.
How? Again, AI is not magic, है ना? कि ये नहीं बोलते कि एक 2 भी एक्स्ट्रा मिल जाएगा भाई, बिल्कुल नहीं, मैजिक नहीं है. AI is very, very mathematical, very clear. Pattern of what? नहीं, whatever नहीं, ये आंसर गलत है. नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. फिर से मान लेते हैं कि एक नया वायरस आता है, जिस वायरस में हड्डी का ग्रोथ होता ही रहता है, ठीक है? और and that's how people die. Let us say that finally your heart will be pierced by your rib cage. This is the disease, right? क्या ये वायरस का जो प्रॉब्लम है, ये मुझे किसी भी करंट पैटर्न में मिल जाएगा? नहीं मिलेगा ना? नहीं मिलेगा ना? तो मुझे तो निकालना पड़ेगा ना कि ये एक नया KPI चाहिए मुझे इसके लिए, करेक्ट? Then and only then this can be predicted. So don't say कि ये हो जाएगा कुछ नहीं होता है बॉस. Tell me the reason how it will happen. Okay, go ahead. Okay, good. Yes. No, they have not happened. Okay, so here's the point. They do not need to have happened. We know that these are bad for us. That's all. So all we can do is what is bad for me and count the number of bads and say this customer is showing too many bads. That's all. We can never say that this customer, I don't know, did you finally die because of cholesterol? It is possible that you died because of cholesterol, also because of COVID and also cancer. Which one is the most important one? We don't know. But we can say that because of this n number of things, we can show that there are 5 comorbidities. That's why we think that somebody is possibly going to die. That's exactly the same thing we're talking about here. For any new disease, you need new KPIs. Okay? Yes, sir. What's your question? Sorry. I mean, if you want, I can sit down with you, have more fun with this. Take the mic, please. Take the mic. Okay.
Hi, I'm Rajat, and I have something on similar lines. So you said what is good and what is bad, right? When it comes to customer success, what is good and what is bad might differ.
Yes.
For example, the slides I just showed, right, you just showed, right? You said customer tickets, higher number of customer tickets might be bad. Consider a scenario where my customer is not using the product at all. He's not raising any tickets at all.
Correct.
For you, it's positive. For me, it's not. Right? So what is good and what is bad when it comes to customer
Good.
success?
So I miss your name. What's your name, sir?
I'm Rajat.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Good question. Let me just answer this part. Right. Imagine there are two customers. One is Stuti, and another is Raman. Right. We have picked up two good people here. Stuti has logged 10 tickets with me, and Raman has logged 20 tickets with me. Who do you think is
Again,
not doing good?
It depends. Maybe Raman has added more users to my product, so he's raising. These are new users.
Close enough. Let me.
They are raising how
let me help you with
to
this.
do tickets.
Good answer, but let me help you a little further. Stuti's 10 tickets are at the basis of 10 hours of total product usage across number of users. We don't care. And Raman's 20 tickets is at the base of 2 hours of usage across all his users. So which means Stuti's company is logging 1 ticket for every hour that they use. That is their problem. Raman's company is logging 5 tickets for every other using. So Raman is definitely the problem, not Stuti. Right? So the point is, when you create these KPIs have to be at the base of something, and then at the base of that you need to see if it's going down or going up. And that's what I was saying. See, in a talk like this, we cannot go through all of this in detail. But if you sit down with me in person, and this is what we want to do, we would like to look at your dhanda specifically and decide for your dhanda what is actually the KPI that should look like, and then based on that decide कि वो ऊपर जाकर नीचे जाएगा. ऐसा हो सकता है कि ऐसे बहुत धंधे होंगे जहाँ पे कि product यूजर से कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता उनको.
Correct.
API businesses, they don't care how much hours product was used.
So help me understand, are these KPIs, weightage for these KPIs are equal or they differ?
These weightage for these KPIs are different. You can set it up. You can switch off certain KPIs. For example, when Mosmi and I go for medical tests, I don't get tested for breast cancer. You know why? You know why, right? It's as simple as this. So it's how it goes, guys. Your business and your business alone will decide what kind of KPIs you should have. And that is why we can say the spectrum of KPIs are these, but then you can add some of your own, like Oyon has added his own KPIs for his module of assessment model, and this is what he has done. So you can absolutely do that piece. For that, when you sit down, of course you can switch off certain KPIs, say, ye merely important nahi hai, ye not valid for me, and to change the weights based on that. So you should definitely do that piece, because end of the day, we're trying to figure out these pointers from there. So, but great question again. Love it. Any other questions, guys? Okay. I don't think there are any more questions. Oh, there's one more question. All right. Okay.
I want to know the accuracy.
Sir, please, you need to give me your name and your organization. Then only I'll answer your question.
I would like to keep it discreet. I want to know the accuracy, and I want to know the TAT. What are the time frame you engage your model with the business? And I want to know what is the accuracy of your product. I mean, the service.
Good. So here's the difference. The difference is the doctors never say that this patient is going to die in 21 days, 4 hours, 16 minutes. What they say is there is a 90% chance of morbidity for this patient in the next 6 months. Right? This is how medical science tells things. And then there is a survivability graph that we build, and any new drug that comes in has to show that it significantly betters that graph. What we do is we do exactly the same thing. We say there is a probability for churn. It's entirely possible कि जब मैं बोल दूं कि ये customer churn होने वाला है, आयन अपने CEO को भेज दे इसके घर पे साथ में golf खेलने के लिए, और हो सकता है कि customer churn ना हो. Right? That does not mean that our prediction was wrong. It means that you acted on the prediction. It's an open system, right? So the accuracies for the system, and this again a very academic answer, I would have loved to say that our system is 98% accurate. That would have been an absolute lie answer. And I can't do that because I know mathematically I can't defend it. What I can defend is this. I can tell you that this customer shows a high probability of churn. Now, please act on that. If you don't act on that, probably this customer will churn any which ways. So in terms of accuracy, and this is again, I have seen this being claimed by a whole bunch of CS tools that, hey, our accuracy is 95%. Please don't fall for it. It is impossible to mathematically prove it, right? It's not a closed system, it's an open system to suggestions, where if I say this guy is going to churn, Ayan might send the CEO over to stop the churn from happening. So that is very difficult to do. Number two was, your question was, how do we train the model? Is that your question?
How long do you engage your service in a business? So you were engaging in a business and then give them the prediction.
Okay. Yeah, so okay, the time frame of the x-axis is decided by you. So for example, if you are a fast-moving product, then every hour's usage might be useful for you. But let's say if you are people strong, then it probably would be a week-long time axis. So it is very dependent on your, again, the point, this is a great question, absolutely. And I'm really happy that you asked it, because this is the crux of it. When you see somebody making extraordinary claims of, we can predict churn, we can do this, you must ask these brilliant questions. That what is the time scale on the x-axis that we saw here? That if I go back to any KPI, yeah, this. What is this axis? Now this axis is different from Facebook. Facebook will show this will be probably in hours, but for PeopleStrong it will probably be weeks. For an even bigger product, let's say for example, a $1 billion product, like say deployment into a large nuclear reactor, it will probably into quarters. So it is very dependent on your business. So it's an absolutely fantastic question that you have asked. Like, this is the best question of the evening so far for me. Thank you very much. Any other questions, guys? No. Yes. Friday beer. Thank you very much. I'll give back my mic to our very good friend Ankit Agarwal. Thank you, Ankit, for having me here.
Thanks, Manasij.